We are here because we are dedicated to helping members of our community build lean, strong bodies and confident, resilient minds. Determined to elevate the lives of working professionals, stay-at-home parents, and anyone who is ready to level up their life. Our invigorating group fitness classes, practical nutrition programs, and authentic coaches help ignite your life. Find a place that believes in you. Find a place that challenges you. Find CrossFit Southpaw. Welcome back. It's Nick here at CrossFit Southpaw. You're interested in getting started with nutrition, but you're not sure where to go. This I don't want to call it a hack, is going to be going to come up good in search terms and all that. It's not really a hack. It's just a great starting point for anyone on any nutrition program. There's a ton out there. There's keto, Whole30, paleo, RP, WAG, all sorts of these. I could go on and on about it. High carb, low carb, high protein, all natural, macronutrient, micronutrient focused. And really, they're going to have some similar things. And one of those is that it's going to require that you track what you eat. Now, there's some apps that will help with this. I use MyFitnessPal. It's like a $79 yearly subscription. I would suggest getting the subscription because you can customize your numbers in there. It makes it much easier to view where you're at and really spread that out over 12 months. It's not that much, less than $10 a month. That's less than a fancy coffee at wherever you get fancy coffee from. That being said, brings me to my second point. Whatever your prescription is, and maybe you don't even have one yet, you're just like, I need to track this. I need to get weight under control, or I want to feel better, or I want to lean out or bulk up. Whatever your goal is, it's going to require you to track it. My suggestion for the first 7 days is just start tracking. It doesn't matter what you eat. By nature of tracking, you're going to eat a little bit healthier. You're going to start to see some trends in the numbers and start to trend those in the right direction. Generally, that's more protein, slightly less fat, and carbs can really vary depending on what your goal is. But I would suggest starting to track and get in the habit of that. MyFitnessPal and a number of those other apps make it very simple. What you can do, you go onto the app, open it up, and there's a little barcode picture. You click on it, you can scan what you're eating. So let's say I'm eating eggs and toast. Okay. So in the morning, I have 2 full eggs, 3 egg whites, and 2 pieces of toast with butter on it, or canola spread, or whatever you choose to use. I scan the bag of toast. Serving size, which is important to note, is 1 slice. I put 2 on there, enter, boom. It's set for the day. It logs the protein, carbs, and fat. It also has the added bonus of logging the micronutrients, how much sodium is in there, et cetera, some of that stuff as well. With the eggs, I put the 2 eggs in the skillet. If I was using egg whites, I could measure that out. I usually do 160 grams of egg whites. However, I believe that's correct. I'll have to double check on that because right now I'm using eggs and I filter out the yolk. So either way that I do it, I can select the product. With the egg whites, I can scan it. With the traditional eggs, you can actually scan those packs as well. Otherwise, you can search in there for egg, right? Or egg whites, egg yolks, whatever you want to add. And you can select the number and serving size. What's going to be very helpful here for you is to get a scale. The scale does not have to be fancy. There are some for $20, $30, $40. You want to make sure that it can tare. Tare is when you put something on it and then zero it out again. So if I have a bowl, let's say I want to measure my egg whites, and the bowl weighs 1 pound or X number of grams, whatever it is, I can zero it out and then I can add my egg whites into it, right? And I can see exactly how many I'm getting. Now, especially when you're starting out, don't stress about how much it is. Get something that looks like a good amount to eat. Put those eggs in with your other eggs. If you want to add salt, pepper, I add some basil into it because weird like that. But I have all my macros then at that point. If I put butter on the toast, I scan it. I estimate how much I'm putting in. A tablespoon, it's about a thumb size. It doesn't have to be exact necessarily, depending on how dialed in you want to be. You certainly could use a tablespoon, measure it out. Get in the habit of doing this. I promise the first 2 days or so are going to be a little bit tougher. After that, it gets quite a bit faster, quite a bit easier, and you're going to be all set for when you start and you get a prescription. Let's say your prescription is 50 grams of protein a day or 100 grams of protein a day, 32 grams of fat, and 160 grams of carbs. Then you're going to want to dial that in and see how close you can get to each one of those. But start by tracking. You're taking the first few steps in your journey, and those first few steps are so critical. Once you get on the mountain, you just start climbing, right? But getting started, getting all the right stuff, all of that is so critical to that journey. So start measuring, start tracking where you're at. That will give your coach something to work off of and see where you're at. The other nice thing about those apps, and again, you can do this in other ways. Most companies or restaurants have nutrition facts on their website, and you can enter those or calculate those manually. However, in most apps, let's say you search Red Lobster, what are those things called? The butter biscuits or whatever they have, right? That all that stuff's in there. Caribou breakfast sandwich, that's in there. McDonald's, a lot of these common foods are already entered in there. So you just search what your order is, click it, boom, hit add, and it's going to add it in there and show you how many you have left for the day, how many you have total, calories, protein, fat, carbs. And those are the big ones you're going to be looking at in most nutrition programs. It will also give a coach an idea of where you are. Now at Southpaw, we have something called an in-body machine. It's going to calculate total weight, body fat percentage, all these numbers. The one that I find the most helpful, though, especially for nutrition, is basal metabolic rate. The basal metabolic rate is tough to calculate, and a lot of times nutritionists, I've used this in the past, guess that number. This is the total number of calories that you burn every day at rest, right? So it takes in your resting metabolic rate, which varies based on your body type, height, weight, and activity level. From there, we're going to use a multiplier to, if you work out 7 days a week, it's going to be different than somebody who works out 3 days a week or someone who doesn't work out at all. There are some that are better than the others, but point is, when in nutrition, we get a set number of calories. That's how many you burn every day. So our basal metabolic rate is how many you burn at rest. Total, caloric needs or total caloric intake is how many you burn every day, including movement. When you go upstairs, when you work out, when you talk, when you think, like all these things add to our metabolism. And there's some really good rules that they've developed to help us calculate what those are. We're going to start by assessing where you're at and what your goals are. So if you want to lose weight, and again, there's tons of different nutrition programs out there. All of them agree on this one thing. If you want to lose weight, your calories in need to be lower than your calories out. Now, we don't want to make that too extreme, or your metabolism is going to adjust and you're going to start messing up your metabolism, doing damaging things to your hormones, etc. Or your body's going to bring that down, and we're going to have to really readjust to get you back up and back down to where kind of a stasis and a homeostasis would be. We don't want to go too far off of that, which you'll see a lot of these quick fad programs do, and that ends up actually really hurting you in the long run. I've seen a number of clients who go in this huge caloric deficit. They lose a bunch of weight in 2 months. It's not sustainable. They're hungry all the time. They're irritable, low energy. They're not performing well, but they lose a bunch of weight. Once they start just eating where they were before, kind of a baseline of what they were at before, their weight spikes back up. And it's really not healthy. And it's challenging to bring that back down. It can be done, but it's challenging. The other way the other kind of commonly accepted theme is that if you want to gain weight, you want to build lean mass, you want to bulk up, is we need to find your daily caloric intake and go over that, right? Calories in exceeds calories out. Now, when you first start a nutrition program, we're going to try to get as close to that as possible. However, we're going to need to move that around. So a good nutrition program is going to have you track kind of if it's weight based, kind of where that is at, body fat percentage based, where that is at on a regular basis. That could be daily, weekly, something like that, and allow us over the first 2, 3, 4 weeks to adjust those numbers, which is why when you start a nutrition program, the first month is very critical, but you may not see the progress that you want, at least with a good one, is because we're really trying to identify where that line is. And using something like the InBody that we have at Southpaw allows us to find that much quicker, allows you to start getting results a lot quicker. But regardless, even if you're not working with a nutrition coach, you're doing this on your own, you can do that. But the first 7 days, I would say, or the first 5 days, depending on how quickly you progress and get comfortable with it, start tracking everything you eat. There are some great rules of thumb you can use to measure things. You're out with your friends and you eat a hamburger and you're not exactly sure what's in there. We can prep you to help you with that and measure, identify kind of what those sizes are, just by visualizing it. But there are a few shortcuts that we can use. But the big thing is that you're marking that in, and having it marked in and tracked is going to allow you to make some really educated decisions and give your coach a much better idea of where you're at and where we need to go with this.